Hello, and welcome to the Guilbault Girls Show, where you will have the opportunity to hear from mothers, fathers, siblings, and individuals themselves about their journey of living with a disability. I know, it's called Guilbault Girls, but we have a bonus for you as we get the Guilbault boys to interview some of the dads and siblings and get their perspectives too. We'll also have special guests from time to time to share the many resources that are available to those living with a disability and their families. So get ready to laugh, smile, cry, maybe even get a little angry when you hear some of these stories of their day-to-day struggles. But let's not forget their many triumphs. As they say, it takes a village. And if it weren't for our village, we wouldn't be where we are today. So join us. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Guilbault Girls Show. I'm your host, Karen Guilbault, along with my husband,
Jesse Guilbault.
And today we are back here with high school sweethearts, Kim and Justin. Say your last name.
Waszkiewicz.
Thank you.
Hi.
Of Havre, Grace, Maryland. In this episode, we are going to go a little deeper in about Isaac's aNORAble home, which is an Airbnb and art gallery dedicated to their children and the disability community. Isaac's aNORAble home was transformed into a blue house that welcomes you with a bright yellow door. The colors represent Down syndrome. The house is open to guests who will know that they are loved, welcomed, celebrated, and accepted. They hope that their guests enjoy a walk on the real yellow brick road. They will be taken from black and white steps to a life of color. The spacious rooms are themed around disability, courage, love, and kindness. Isaac's aNORAble home has initiated important conversations that promote inclusion, advocacy, understanding, and change. They look forward to opening their doors to guests around the world. And Jesse and I and Faith actually were able to go there when you had your brunch for World Down Syndrome Day.
Yes.
And that's where I got the necklace and the earrings from too. She had all blue and yellow
So good.
jewelry. Love it. And this house, she took me on a tour. I wish I could show it to you guys. You just have to go to their Facebook page and their website to see it. But there is not one thing in there that hasn't been transformed that has just such a special touch to it. Like, I can't even explain, like, where in your mind, in creative mind, did it come up, with all of that?
You.
And also, Justin, like, what do you do for a living? Because you have redone that entire house. So like,
well, I would love to take credit for doing all of it, but we had a lot of help from friends and family and some great contracting teams that we partnered with. So my background is not construction. I know a little bit about woodworking and craftsmanship. I mean, I do. I picked up quite a bit over the years. My father was a carpenter for many years. So I was able to pick up a lot of that stuff, learn about how to use all the right tools for the right job. So I had some background, but my normal day-to-day job, I'm a health inspector for Harford County Health Department.
Yeah, I know that. My sister's a health inspector in New Jersey.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So that's my day job. So when Kim had this fantastic, marvelous idea to do all of this, it was kind of overwhelming at first because I work full time doing something else. She works full time. So we kind of had to figure out a way to manage how to transform a house that was built in 1899 and take it from pretty bad conditions up to what it is now.
Yeah,
so we got in here and literally day one, and we have it on like one of our Instagram stories. Day one, me, Kim, Nora, and Isaac were in here vacuuming and scrubbing walls and sanitizing and just cleaning every square inch of this house. And then
I think Nora was on the iPad most of
yeah,
the
she
day.
got away with some iPad time too. But we had then we had a lot of friends and family come in,
Help us
clean and paint and declutter and just remove stuff.
And help with demoing the bathroom and just we did learn a lot along the way.
Yeah, and still learning.
And
so
we're still learning.
we were able to transform
that part of this house.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when we walked into Isaac's aNORAble home, it was not what it is today. And I think you should give yourself a little bit more credit because
it was a lot of hard work, but she definitely kept me.
I've seen pictures of you in action working.
Yeah.
You've done a lot.
Kim did a lot. She did a lot of painting, a lot of tedious little intricate details. And then, the big nuts and bolts are one thing, but then like what you all see is like comes right out of her mind. She's like, this room, at first we were going to make this room part of the Airbnb, this gallery that we're in right now. And she's like, why don't we just make it an art gallery? I'm like, I don't know anything about art. I don't know anything about galleries. And I said, all right, let's go for it. So she had the idea to have artists with disabilities create all of the beautiful artwork around the gallery, and we display it in this awesome room that is now the gallery when you first come in.
So we chose art because I feel like everyone can participate in art and everyone has the right to express themselves, and you can do that you can do that in so many ways through art. So with my background as an occupational therapist, we can modify how someone can participate in an art activity, whether that be modifying their brush or the canvas they're using or the paints they're using or the type of art they're doing. And I think what we have in this gallery now is a product of inclusion in art for everyone. And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, because everybody is included in this art. And that's the way, it's like, imagine if the world was modified for everybody the way just art could be. Everything would be so much more better. But
now walk us through and tell us about the staircases and the floors and the rooms and the black and white and the yellow. Like, I love that, like all of that.
so the house initially was covered in white asbestos shingles.
Yep, it had asbestos shingles all over it that we had to like legally tear down. We weren't allowed to keep it.
Yeah.
So we were gonna paint it, but then when we found out we had to get rid of it, we wanted to go with the blue colors. So
we chose blue and yellow, which are the colors of Down syndrome. And we have a big sign outside that says, Isaac's aNORAble Home, and it's dedicated to the disability community and our children. And we have artwork starting from outside. So we have these big pavers that are painted with words that, that just
like words of encouragement
for people just walking by, and that say like, you matter and you're loved, and just reminders like be kind. And so if you're walking by, we're hoping that the house still has an impact on you. But once you walk in, then it's a whole nother world. So you walk into our welcome hall, and along the walls of our welcome hall are portraits of advocates, individuals with disabilities who want our visitors, because this is an Airbnb, to see their faces and to know that they're in this world too. And some of their disabilities are visible and some of them are not visible disabilities. And the stairs are black and white. They kind of represent the colors of life before children. And when you walk up the stairs, they have words, and it says, in this house, you are loved, you are welcomed, you are celebrated. And this is how we feel everyone should feel and live when they're just going about their day. So we want to give that to them when they come to Isaac's aNORAble house, aNORAble home.
Mm-hmm.
Nora would correct me on that. The rooms are themed around the colors of blue and yellow, but they're also filled with artwork created by individuals with disabilities. There are words of wisdom that were sent to us from parents of people with disabilities. And then our library is filled with books that are surrounded about disability awareness. So if we have a traveler coming here, they can read a little bit about Down syndrome. They can pick up a book that has to do with learning ASL. So we have a variety of different books. We have
a lot of the books were created by families and parents of the children who have a disability, and they were donated to us by those families. And we just display them throughout the rooms in each space.
And they're all different disabilities because we want to celebrate everybody here. And then you walk through our bathroom. So the way it's made, it's like the bathroom has two doors, and there's a green tub, which I called my Emerald City, because it leads into another hallway that has the yellow brick road. So you go from life that's pretty black and white to life of color, and that's how we felt after having Nora and Isaac. It's definitely not what it was before in any way, and never will be what it was.
And let me tell the listeners too that what you did to the floor, it's actual like
it is
like a river rock pebble.
It's a real brick floor.
Yeah.
It's real brick. So the existing floor, not to get real like craftsman-y, but it was a hardwood floor that was not in really the best of shape.
It was rough.
It was not. It
Save
wasn't the kind that you could like restore.
Mhm.
So we refreshened it a little bit, and then we mortared in real brick and
Bricks.
created a real brick floor and grouted that in with cement. So it's a real brick floor that you're walking on. It's nice and sturdy. And we left the beginning hallway just natural brick color. And then you go through the bathroom, which is newly renovated, everything brand new. And then you go into the yellow brick road and you open up to this life of color. And I will say she hand painted like over 110 bricks yellow, and one by one she had to hand paint them. So that was like her therapy, like 2 o'clock in the morning for quite a long time. So the yellow brick road, and then we have some Airbnb rooms, and then we have a nice mural with the Wizard of Oz scene on there to kind of match with the yellow brick road.
So we kind of just want people to come in here and feel what we felt. It's kind of like a whirlwind when you get a diagnosis that your child is coming into the world with a disability, and then also you're going to be parents, and then you're going to be parents again. And we just want to share that with people, because through parenthood, with, Nora taught us, I always say it, Nora taught us how to love unconditionally, and Isaac taught us how to love everyone. And Nora has a disability and Isaac doesn't. And I think we can learn from everyone, whether they have a disability or not. And with people coming into this home, we also want to hear their stories, and because everybody's going through something, and this place is a place where they can be themselves and where they can heal and celebrate who they are and whatever that may be. And then they can explore Havre Grace and all of its beautiful wonders, because this is a very neat town. It's beautiful.
Yeah, tell the listeners a little bit more about Havre Grace and how you chose to do it there as well, because there's people that listen all over.
Well, I think Havre Grace was a perfect choice, and
we found out after.
Right, yeah. So when Kim had the idea to do this Airbnb and art gallery, we started to kind of get into the motions of the construction and doing all this stuff. And as we're coming in and out of the town, just taking breaks and going down, and then telling them some of the stuff you're finding. Yeah,
we'd venture out and take breaks and go for walks, and then I'd see an art gallery, and then I'd see another art gallery, and I'd look down and it's like
historical art district.
And I'm like, we're supposed to be here. There's no art gallery for people with disabilities. This is where we're meant to be. Like, this is perfect. So we started Isaac's aNORAble home for many reasons. One is advocacy, and the other is for Isaac and Nora to be okay when we're no longer here, because they are very important in each other's lives. And one day Isaac will be Nora's caregiver. And we just want to make sure that financially they will be okay. We want to make sure Nora has meaningful work, so she can manage Isaac's aNORAble home. She can advocate for the disability community through it. And she can also have a safe place to live if she chooses that. This is kind of their plan B, not something we thought we'd have to do as parents, but as disability parents, we do. I feel like we're here one time, and if we can just touch the hearts of maybe a few travelers that are coming through, maybe we can help make the world a safer and better place for our kids when they are adults here. And maybe it kind of has like that puddle effect, trickle effect. the other reason why we did Isaac's aNORAble Home is we want to help with the low employment. So when it comes to employment and disability, there's such a struggle with people with disabilities finding meaningful work and being paid a wage that also, you know, a respectful wage, and also just working something that I'm trying to find the right words.
Like a meaningful employment.
I think that's the biggest thing is
Mhm.
we want to help with employment in the disability community. So we're hoping that one day we can hire a host to help manage our guests and to greet them the day after they come. And we've had a host here during events, and we've had guests meet a host with a disability, and it was exactly what we wanted to happen, because they got to meet somebody with a disability who was just living just as you and I. And I don't think people recognize individuals with disabilities just in the community doing things that they're doing. They're working, they're going to school, they're taking public transportation, or they're driving. And we forget about those things. So we're hoping that Isaac's aNORAble Home can help with inclusion, and not just at events, but also in relationships. So it's like if you can learn through our home how to have a friendship with somebody or a professional relationship, then something, that's what we want to happen here. Isaac's here.
Hi,
Say
Isaac. You want to come say hi? How are you?
Say hi.
You can be shy.
He's doing a big smile. His neck is like,
You can change it if you want to, honey. We'll be
I
right up.
also see that folks can rent the office and the event space out. Can you share a little more about that?
so we do have a space where we can host up to 10 people for an event, like a painting class, or we just had a cookie decorating class in our gallery, which was a lot of fun. So if someone would like to rent out this space to host their own event, we rent out this space for $32.01 an hour, because it's 321, which is the third copy of chromosome 21 for Down syndrome. So all of the Airbnb funds and the rentals for the gallery goes to fully funded paint events within the disability community. So when we are not working full time and when we are not watching the kids full time, we take our supplies and we go to the ARC or the Hartford Center, and we host a take one, leave one paint event where we're painting with about maybe 10 artists who have disabilities, and they paint a piece to take home, and then they paint a piece to leave in our gallery or to leave in one of the rooms, which is
a lot of the stuff you see right here. Some of
the pieces here. And those events are so fun.
They're the best.
They're the best.
Yeah.
We have a great time. And I mean, I don't know who's having more fun.
I want to applaud you for the thought and special touches that you have made to include the siblings, because that's huge. It's so important, because oftentimes they are brushed to the side, not intentionally.
Yeah.
But because, our other children has needs that need to be met. And that's always my biggest guilt with my son. And he's always like, Mom, you're fine. It's like, he knew what had to be done. You know what I mean? Like, he's fine with it all, but it's always just like the mama guilt, that I think I'll always have. Do you have any special events in mind that you think you might plan or host specifically geared towards the siblings?
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
I don't know if you touched on the sibling wall.
Oh, we do have a sibling wall here too. So we have the welcome hall, which is, filled with the advocates. And then we have a sibling hall. And that hall is filled with portraits of siblings and their sibling with a disability. And that's another part of Isaac's aNORAble Home, is we want to celebrate the siblings because they're so important to one another, and it goes beyond mom and dad. Isaac will always see Nora as just Nora,
Nora.
in a way that we can't see her as just Nora. And Isaac treats Nora not as she has an intellectual disability. That's his sister, 100%.
Mhm.
And I don't think I can ever fully have that understanding. And I think it's unique and it's special, and I want to learn from it, because I feel like we can all gain something from that love that they share and that acceptance that they have for each other. And so that's something we want our travelers to also take home with them, is that unconditional love for people just as they are. And we celebrate the siblings through our sibling hall. And our goal one day is, I don't want to see white on these walls. I want them to be filled with portraits and paintings, and every painting and every portrait is just a celebration of that one person that is either smiling back at you, or that one person who painted that picture. And they're worthy, just for being who they are, just as they are. And that was something I felt like when we got the diagnosis. I didn't feel like the world saw my daughter as worthy. And that was hard. And I don't want anybody to ever walk in or walk by this house and feel like they're not enough and they don't matter because of, I don't even know. I can't even conceptualize that thought.
Yeah.
But I think a sibling event would be a fantastic idea to include any.
I veered. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I mean, it's something we haven't
That would be amazing.
discussed entirely, but I'm sure there is a way that we can make that happen.
We have had
sometimes, like, you see, I don't know, I just feel like with JD growing up and stuff, sometimes like he didn't have anybody to talk to. And I find too, when I'm interviewing the siblings, kind of sometimes how they felt or what they didn't share with their parents at the time, because they feel like, okay, there's more important things that have to go on with my sibling for A, B, or C. So they kind of tuck it under for a little bit, so it's like, sometimes they do have to grow up a little bit quicker, if you will. And, they some of them kind of wish that they had a place where they can meet with other siblings just to relate, kind of, or to like kind of get them through some of the times, whereas if they have a regular friend, they don't have a sibling with the disabilities, like some of the things they might not even like, I don't know.
I would love to have a sibling, even just a sibling meetup here.
Yeah.
Whether it be a game night or a paint night, I would love them to find each other, because I know I love finding parents like me.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling in the world to know that there's somebody else.
And
Exactly.
Right. So I feel like the siblings need that too. There's I had interviewed Alex Barone, and he's an actor, and he is also part of oh my gosh, No Limits. I have to look it up now, but it's a camp for kids that have limb differences. And I thought it was brilliant, because they have, not only do they have the individuals, they have the parents, and they have the siblings.
I love
so they
that.
have different things for them to do all together, then also separately. So it's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, they included the siblings in it. How awesome is that? And they go around to different states and host them. And they actually host one right here in Cecil County at North Bay. And
I love that.
Yeah. And I was like, that was like the first thing that I saw about, people really including siblings.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I wish we saw it more often. So that's definitely one of the reasons why we did it here.
Yeah. So I know when we first connected to you, talked about wanting to get a ramp installed, and that you would have the first floor bedroom and bathroom available for those with physical disabilities. And of course, when you saw us when we came for the brunch, and Jesse carried Faith up, who's 19 and 113 pounds, mind you, up the stairs, that it pushed you to get going ASAP to get that done. But to us, I mean, honestly, like it didn't even cross our minds, because we've always had to live with this, because there's so many places, and like friends' homes, or just so many places where there's stairs and stuff, that we're just used to it. And sometimes instead of him helping her, he just picks her up.
Yeah.
Which he needs to stop.
Well, I know when
I really hurt myself.
I know when you guys got here, because I wasn't here when you arrived, but I remember Kim was telling me, she's like, her dad carried her up, and we're promoting a house for inclusion and acceptance and welcoming for all, and then we don't have a way for people who may not be able to manage steps to get in easily or comfortably. And we always knew we wanted to get a wheelchair ramp.
But you lit the fire.
Yeah, it definitely, because it's
and I
like,
feel like we needed that.
right.
We needed that. Like I always say, everything happens for a reason, but and I always say things don't become as important to someone until it's personal. It was important to us, but it meant more when I saw you carry Faith in, and I said, the ramp needs to be in like yesterday.
Yeah.
Because Faith and her family deserve to walk in or roll in or come in just as much as anybody else does. And although you guys will find a way, no matter what it is, I want to just open the doors and allow people to come in with ease, just like anybody else. And so we are dedicating our ramp to Faith, and we have signed the paperwork. And today they did grade our yard, which is so exciting.
Yep.
So we are in the process of getting the cement poured and the fence in where the entrance will be. They said the ramp comes in last.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got the yard, like Kim said, we got the yard graded today. So it's all flat and level because it was a mess back there.
Yeah.
And so the next step is going to have the fence installed, and then we're going to have some cement pads in different areas of the backyard. And then one of the cement pads is going to be the bottom landing of the wheelchair ramp. And we were able to partner with a company who's going to be installing the ramp as soon as we give them the go ahead. And we'll have that ramp installed, and they'll enter in through the back of the house. The front of the house, just not conceivable with like city limits and the sidewalks and stuff.
And the age of a historical home.
Yeah. We have friends that live over there too, and they needed a ramp, and they ended up building on the side of their house. They put an addition in, but they had the ramp on the side in towards the back too.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to put a rush on you guys.
I needed that rush.
Sometimes we need that.
I'm grateful for that
I'm
rush.
gonna kick in your front door and
Yes.
It's a good rush though. It's meaningful. So like anytime we can add something to the house that has real meaning, it makes it a lot easier instead of just aimlessly adding things that may or may not have an effect.
And I feel like even in our journey of this, we're still learning about disability, and and I'm open to it, and I want to learn, and I want things to be personal to us, because I mean that experience is the only way you learn, and that's why the word's coming up again. It's that grace. That's why I've learned to extend grace to other people, because sometimes we need it. And when it comes to people not really understanding Nora and what Nora's needs are, and that they are different from other kids her age. And so you lit the fire, and we needed it. And I'm grateful you did, because it's happening, and it is dedicated to Faith. And we've had people donate with your story and with the reason why we're doing this. And we're very grateful that not only they donated, but they learned that accessibility is important. And they're states away, and they're sending us, help to get this ramp installed. And it's like just her story actually just changed someone's perception. And they're not physically walking in. They want to make it easier for someone else. And that's advocacy. So that's wow. So
that's gonna be great too, because you have that first room floor.
Yes.
So how many rooms total do you guys have? And then I know you did the loft too. So how many openings do you have?
So we have 3 upstairs on the second floor, 1 on the first floor, and we just finished a loft. And the loft is not wheelchair accessible. I'm not sure if it's Kim accessible, because it is 2 flights of steps.
Right.
And I do feel that it is beautiful. It's a beautiful loft. And it's on the top floor, on the third floor.
Mhm.
But the first floor is wheelchair accessible. And we do have like a shower with a shower chair and a grab bar. And the gallery is on the first floor and the bedroom is on the first floor. So we can allow people to come to the gallery and stay here who may need a first floor room.
Right.
So
And
that's
how
exciting.
far, like, because I know that you guys did some interviews too that were on the news and everything. Like,
Mhm.
so things are traveling fast. Are
Yep.
you guys getting a lot of people and coming in and booking and staying and?
Yeah, so we are getting bookings through the summer. We're really excited because we feel like people are coming and they're like, oh, we'd love to stay. Like, we read about what you guys are doing, and then they stay here and they're like, wow, like it's different reading about it or seeing it and then coming here and spending the night here or the weekend here.
Hey,
Hey,
Nora.
Hi.
How are you, sweet girl?
Hi. She's the one who lit the fire under us when we were 28. Yeah. So-
What's your future vision? Where do you guys see Isaac's aNORAble home in, say, 5 years, 10 years?
My goal would be to have many locations throughout the country.
So-
And hopefully dedicating these houses to different people that we come across. So I know Kim's had a very nice, I guess, a vision. So we call this Isaac's aNORAble home. And we have some friends and family around the nation that we would love to eventually maybe partner with if they're comfortable with that, and maybe make something like this in other states more accessible to other people and put a name on it. And kind of expand what we have and kind of have different locations.
So
That is amazing.
we would love to make it specific to another family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And just help with, that family having a plan for their child's future.
Yeah.
And that individual, when they become an adult, having meaningful work and having a safe place and advocating for their community in their way.
Yeah, I know one thing that I came across pretty recently. I was talking to a family, and they're older, and their child with a disability is older than Nora is. I think they were maybe in their 30s or 40s, or maybe even older. And they have no plan right now about what the future holds for them. And I know Kim has expressed to me she would love to talk to and have sessions and meetings and coordinate things with other parents and explain to them what we're doing, and maybe get into, in a broader idea, kind of like a real estate, but for what we're doing, and kind of let her educate other parents who might not have an idea of where to begin. Start small and start doing, Airbnb rentals, or expanding their way of inclusion in some form that incorporates a meaningful income for their child, and maybe even provide income or employment for other people with disabilities. So it's like a wholehearted effort from a lot of different directions. And I see us taking it that route. We're not even 1 year in, and we've already been booking many weekends and stays and have many events. So I think July becomes
July
one.
would be a year. And I just hope that it does have that trickle effect, and we can help other families, because there's so many different layers to Isaac's aNORAble home, from the advocacy to the siblings and the employment and the love. And then just the fact that, our circumstances for our children when we're not here are very different from other families. And that can be overwhelming. And if we can help a family have a plan for their children when they're not here, that's another thing we could just help. I just feel like we're
It is,
here
because
to help.
it's hard and it's overwhelming. Like, I honestly think of Faith, every day. I'm like, she's got 2 years left. I'm like, what is she going to do after school? Because she's affected with her fine motor, her
Yeah.
cortical vision impairment, being
Yeah.
either in the walker or the wheelchair, like what, her processing is slower. So, we always think about that too. And that we're getting ready. I'm going to be interviewing the people that I did for the special needs trust, because that was our hardest thing that we had to do. I feel relieved now that we got the wheel and special needs trusts and everything, where it was very hard for him to get through it. But with JD, I mean, it was selfish of me because, I'm like, he's going in the Army. I'm like, is he going to be a lifer? God forbid something happened to him. Who's going to take care of Faith? But we did the special needs trust, but that, and then I ended up also doing, instead of putting it on him to handle all of the money, I ended up going with First Maryland Disability Trust. So that way they're the trustees. So they will manage, any of the money in the trust. And then that way JD can be the big brother, help her make those informed decisions, and go from there. Because again, I thought, God forbid if, it is very hard, and it's very overwhelming for so many parents, to know what's out there for their kids. I can't believe how much you guys have established and have gotten done in
Thanks.
such a short amount of time.
And I tend to forget that sometimes. I'm like, I feel like I want to do right by the community, and I want everything to be perfect, and I want to do it with dignity and respect for, everyone who sent their photos here, and everyone who hasn't, and everyone who's painted. And sometimes I'm like, gosh, if we could only do this, and if we can only do that, but we can't yet. And then I'm like, well, but we have gotten this done, and we have gotten that done.
It's pretty amazing when you look back and you start seeing pictures and videos of us doing work, like she said, like 1-2 o'clock in the morning for like 6 months straight, pulling all-nighters and then going to work and then coming back and doing more. And it was hard work, but it was so worth it, because when we see, like when we have events, when you guys came, it was like, that's what it was for. It's seeing the families come and explore the gallery, see the rooms, hopefully spread the word and have travelers come and do the same exploring of everything and see Havre Grace. So it's cool to look back at the videos and stuff and see the transformation. It's awesome.
Yeah. So what events do you guys have coming up planned?
We have, and so we have a master artist who is going to volunteer his talent for a paint event. And then our friend is, she mentioned she wants to volunteer. She is a baker. She wants to volunteer her talent for a cookie decorating event. So we just hosted one, but it was our first gallery rental event. And now she wants to donate her time. So we have to set up those dates. This just came up, but we did just have a few events that passed, which were paint events and the cookie painting event. We would like to, once the yard is done, start doing events outside.
Now the weather's getting better and the yard will be together and
the ramp will be in.
Yeah, and I think we don't have details yet, but we've been kind of throwing around the idea of doing possibly like a block party.
Oh gosh, that would be great.
And hopefully maybe get like the city to like block off portion of the road in front, like they do with First Fridays, and have like a 1 year, like an annual celebration. World Down Syndrome Day falls in March, so it's way too cold to plan around it. And then October is World Down Syndrome Month. Again, very cold and weather is a miss. But if we use July as our anniversary date and have a block party every year, it's good weather. We've got a lot of events going down in Havre Grace. So we're going to start planning now that the yard is finally taking its course, get that backyard done, and then start planning for possibly an annual party or an anniversary.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see you on First Friday or something. Maybe we should get a table there.
You should.
Right?
Yeah, like an information table.
Yeah. So tell folks before we wrap up, where can they find you on like social media and your website, and how to book a room and all that good stuff? And I'll also put everything in the show notes as well.
All right.
You are too cute, girl.
He's moving the camera away from her. So yeah, we can be found on Facebook. If you just search Isaac's aNORAble Home. We're on Instagram under the same tag name, Isaacs_aNORAble_homes. And then our website is isaacsanorablehomes.com.
With an S.
With an S, homes.
That's our hope to have another one in the future.
Yeah,
So,
we're like forward-thinking,
yeah.
having
homes.
multiple
That's
places. So
amazing.
so we can be found on our website, Facebook, Instagram, and then we are on Airbnb. So if we have open calendar, our rooms can be seen on there. You can book through there. If you want, we can be booked through our website. And then any events or anything that's going on with the house, we usually post event schedules and calendars and things that are coming up, or if we're having an event, we'll
On our website or
on
our
the website.
Facebook.
Yep.
Awesome. So is there anything else you guys would like to share or say or anything before we wrap it up?
Thank you for having us.
I think it's awesome what you're doing.
I'm so grateful for what you guys do. So thank you for, I mean, your form of advocacy is beautiful and we're grateful for it.
And we're only able to do what we're doing because, you have this platform and, we're using this kind of platform that you have and other folks to kind of spread the word. So we're all kind of like coming off of each other's, advocacy efforts and everything. So it's awesome. I'm
It's
really
a
thankful.
team effort.
We're all in this together. As I always say, it takes a village.
It
And
does.
surely does.
I'm so happy you're in our village.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody, stay tuned for another episode. I will have all of their information in the show notes and be sure to check them out and book a room. All right.
you.
Thanks,
you.
guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us as we spread awareness through our personal stories and the many resources shared. You can help us by joining our village simply by sharing our show to the masses. If you would like to support the Guilbault Girls on another level, click on the link in the show notes to make a donation in any amount. Add your address and you'll receive a hand-stamped token with the word village on it in appreciation. Be sure to subscribe to our Guilbault Girls podcast and YouTube show, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Guilbault Girls. Till next time.